Hey everybody, welcome back to Boxcars Garage. So today we're going to go ahead and get started on the coupe, and thought I'd go ahead and bring you along. We spin you around here and you can check it out. So you see I'm all set up in a different part of the shop this time around. With it being over here, I'm going to be able to move the car in and out depending on what I'm doing for the day. Maybe keep the dust and dirt out of the shop a little bit by being able to go outside. I don't know, we'll see how it all works out. My objective today is to get the body lifted off. I like to get the fenders off, and then I could take the complete chassis and get it out of here. Maybe we'll find out when the last refresh was, when we get into the fenders. And I say that because, man, it's a heavy plate. I say that because somebody used a license plate as a patch on this running board right here. If you could look through here, underneath this rubber, there is a license plate that they used, and ever since I saw that little bit of license plate, I've been wondering what year it might be. Let me see if I can light this up a little bit. There we go. That's a license plate hiding underneath there. So that'll be fun. See what year that plate is. Hopefully there's some renewal stickers on it and whatnot. I've got a block and tackle arrangement that I'm gonna have rigged up to it, and straps traveling through here, and I'll get her padded up, and then down here I've been doing some cobbling, getting ready for this point. You see, I made this receiver, and I'm looking forward to using it. I've got some 5.5 inch red heads holding that down into the slab, and then I use some concrete epoxy to add to it, and I've got them all torqued to spec, which is like 90 foot-pounds, and everything's bolted in, and I'm hoping that I can get a lot of use out of this little winch arrangement. Working here by myself, I could use a hand once in a while, and this is just gonna be my little helper. But I had all this material laying around, scrap, and heavy round plate is the base of everything, and then everything on there is 1/4 inch or better, 1/4 inch wall. So yeah, it's gonna be my setup from now on, and I can, if you see here, I set it up. I've got 3 attachment points, and what that is going to let me do is going to let me pivot this, and when I set up my shop, I set up that lifting point there. I've got a huge beam that goes across my shop right in the center line of this section anyway of the shop, and that beam is it's huge. It's got like a 1,000-pound center span lift capacity. I forget the dimensions, but it's something like, I don't know, 12 inches by 18, or it's a big beam. And I went ahead and I installed these loops across it, and I ran it through my ceiling to where I can have some lift points in my shop on occasion. And the reason why I set that thing up on a triangle as far as the way it's fastened to the ground is that I can loosen those nuts off and I can spin that thing and I can get it basically pointing toward that one in the closest to the garage door, which I think is probably going to be like a good engine lift area, general use area. And then like this one in the middle is good for like what we're going to be doing today is the body. The one at the front of the shop, I don't know if it's good for anything because it's kind of like too close to the workbench below. I got to get these pedals out. Got to get the shifter sector out of there and the emergency brake. Then I'll be able to get the body lifted up just far enough to be able to clear this and roll the chassis out of the garage. So this is the size of redhead fastener I use at the 5/8 by 5 inches. My slab is about anywhere from 4 to 6 inches in the area that I've got that plate mounted. What I did was, this collar right here has got a slice on it, and you see it's got these nubs on it, and that's so it catches the wall of the concrete as it's being pulled up, and when it does that, it continues to pull that collar down until it pinches itself between the wall and this flared end. So these bolts offer a mechanical advantage when you're fastening things to the floor, and then they've got a torque requirement of 90 foot-pounds. So like I said, this is smaller, but it's still representative of the mechanical fastener that I used, just a little bit small. And then what I did was, so I put these in, I filled that hole full of this epoxy, and this is construction grade Simpson strong tie epoxy. This is what you would use if you were connecting an old slab to a new slab, and you had to, I think when I built my shop here, when I tied this new floor to my old concrete slab, I had to get a 18-inch piece of number 4 rebar, and it had to be shot with this epoxy, Set XP epoxy, and then you drove that number 4 rebar into the hole. And so this is what I used, and then when I shoved this into the hole, I went ahead and I topped it off. I squirted some down along the sides, and went ahead and took it to spec, and then next day everything was firmed up. I gave it actually 3 days to set up, and so that's how I tied it to the floor. There's a lot of controversy on the ham with regards to side loading and everything else. Let me take you over there to the winch. Okay, so you know there is side loading on this right here. It's pulling. It is pulling this stuff. My finger is kind of at a diagonal. You know, it's pulling this away, and those are directly straight into the concrete. So yeah, you know, it's not an ideal engineering situation, but you know, it is what it is. I've got this set to where it lines up with the bottom of my block and tackle. You know, the angle, I was able to shoot that angle, you know, during the process and make sure that I fabricated this up the way it needed to be, at the right angle. And everything here is, I think this right here might be, this is probably 3/8. This is 1/4. My plate on the bottom is like a 1/2 inch. Everything is uber reinforced. So that was my little winch. My block and tackle, I got that at the recycler. It's cast aluminum. It's rated at 2,500 pounds, and I've got a beam above that's been engineered to handle 1,000 pounds mid-span. So I wasn't anywhere near that. And then that chain, of course, is fastened. It's looped around that beam, and that beam is like 10 inches by 18 or 20. It's a pretty significant beam up there. You can see that's a station that I probably won't use because it's too close to my bench, but this one right here would probably be a good one for like engines. I'm guessing, just being where it's at in the shop. So glad to have this thing down. downtown. This is the A-pillar that's going to be some fun. It's had some cobbling done in the past. But look at these wheel wells. I've never had wheel wells this nice before. There's no holes in them. Not yet anyway. This back panel here is gonna go. It's I could fix it, but I've got another one. This is gonna be a big part of my project, and if you can, I don't know if you can notice, but this wheel well is kicked out. It's kicked out. The fender was actually, the outside was up and the inside was down, so it was like wedged up, like something had pulled it up, and then it ended up distorting this valley that goes around through here. It's way too much contour. It's very bulbous right here all the way through. I've got to figure out some way to pull that out of this area right here. That's going to be a really, that's going to be a challenging one for myself. And I get challenged quite easily. So, but more to follow on that as we start figuring it out. I might have to reach out to some of my YouTube brethren and do a consult. But you take a look at the floor here. Get my prop here. See, that's the only blowout in the floor. This back is pretty good. And then I've got some sub rail issues, but I've got a new sub rail for it. Yeah, got a new sub rail. It's even got the tray area underneath the door, or the seat. You know, it's got some holes coming out of it, but it's, I think that could even be saved. Yeah. So anyway, lots to do. But it's a good car. It's a good car. My drip rail on this side is nice. Definitely savable. My drip rail on this other side though, it's awful. Well, awful is a little overkill, but it's not good. And those are always a big hassle to replace. So anyway, let me spin you around here quick, and we'll sign off for now. And hope you enjoyed the video. Time to get things going on this car and make something happen. Catch you later.